Hello everyone, this is Rebecca Kokendorfer with homeschool.com. I am on location today. I am touring Washington State, a very homeschooling friendly state. In fact, if you're curious, at the end of this live, I will tell you what the homeschooling laws are in Washington. And by the way, if you're from Washington, kudos, this is such a gorgeous state. I've been driving through it. There's water everywhere, lakes and rivers and greenery. It is so beautiful. So for our story time this week, I thought it might be fun if I give you some book recommendations for Easter time coming up next week. And so I was out hiking this morning and I came across this darling bookstore called A Book for All Seasons, and I asked their manager, Teresa, which books she recommends for us for this coming Easter. And by the way, I am in a cute little Bavarian village called Leavenworth, Washington. Not the prison, but Leavenworth, Washington. And some very brilliant people designed the whole little village to look with a Bavarian theme and German restaurants and beer fests. And it is so beautiful. I'm having such a wonderful time here. So the number one book that Teresa recommended, it's called The Easter Egg by Jan Brett. Are you familiar with any of her books? The detailing inside is really beautiful. I mean, take a look at that. I'm going to try to get it without the shine on it for you. As you come into the live, be sure to write something in the comment section, please, so that I'll know you're there. And if you have your children with you today on your lap, put their names too so that I can give them a shout out. So her Teresa's number one recommendation is The Easter Egg. And it's a beautiful story of a bunny who is worried about, decorating his egg for the Easter bunny. And it ends up that he sits on a robin egg until it is hatched. And that ends up being his beautiful Easter contribution. The second book recommended is The Story of Easter. So this is a religious book talking about the crucifixion and resurrection of Jesus Christ. And these, hi there, hi Carrie, nice to see you, nice to have you. So your 4-year-old Melody, hi Melody, thanks for coming online. It's almost Easter time. I've got some great books for you. So these little golden books, my goodness, these books have been around forever and they're just treasures. So this is a great book too. Here's one that's bilingual. I don't speak Spanish. I don't even know how to pronounce this. I speak German and Japanese. I think it's Yama Yama, Easter Egg. But in this book, you'll see that it's written in both English and in Spanish. And this is one of those nice hard board books too, kind of indestructible. All right, what about Fancy Nancy and the Missing Easter Bunny? And if you have read any of these books, be sure to write that. Or do a thumbs up when I show it to you if you know it. And then it's kind of fun to get that feedback. For example, have you ever read any of other Jan Brett books? So thumbs up if you've read her books. This is Fancy Nancy. What do you think, Melody? What book do you want to read? The theme for the bookstore I'm in here in this Leavenworth, this Bavarian village, is Eat, Sleep, Read. And the name of it is A Book for All Seasons. So obviously this is a bookstore that, from our heart. Here is another bilingual book with an Easter theme. What do you think of this? The Easter Bunny is coming. Melody, do you speak Spanish? Do you speak any other languages? Here's a really beautiful one. When Spring Comes. And if we have time at the end here, you tell me which book you want me to read and I'll read some of it for you. Isn't this beautiful with the artwork? What about The Story of the Easter Bunny? So all of these books, as I mentioned, are recommended by Teresa here at this bookstore. And so she kind of knows. She sees so many books all the time. So I like her recommendations. I thought they were really good. Hi, Carrie. So just English for now, but she loves books. Oh, good. Me too. Me too. Was it so little time for reading? Okay. Oh, what about this one? You probably know this author, because I think this is the same author of If You Give a Mouse a Cookie. So this is Happy Easter Mouse. At least the art looks very similar, doesn't it? Melody, have you read If You Give a Mouse a Cookie? So when I'm going to show these to you, and then Melody, you get to be the one to choose which book you want me to read for us for story time today. What about the Berenstain Bears? I used to be a huge fan of the Berenstain Bears, but then they wrote one book that was kind of anti-homeschooling. I don't know if you guys remember the name of that, but it turned me off of them a little bit. It was all about this poor little bear that wasn't properly socialized because he was homeschooled. I'm going to have to read that book one of these times. Okay, what about Happy Easter Biscuit? Have you ever read any books about Biscuit the dog? I love the artwork in here. All right, so those are Teresa's recommendations. Okay, Melody, you're the one who gets to choose today. Which book would you like me to read today? Is it Happy Easter Biscuit? Is it the Berenstain Bears Easter Parade? Happy Easter Mouse? And I'm begging you, Melody, don't choose a book that's in Spanish because I don't speak any Spanish. It would be really embarrassing. What about the story of the Easter Bunny? When Spring Comes? Okay, Carrie, so type in Melody's choice for book. Not this one, Melody. Bad book, bad book. What about Fancy Nancy? What book do you want me to read? This is a gorgeous one. I can read this one to you. This is probably my choice, but the artwork is so gorgeous. Oh, what did Carrie say? It says The Story of the Easter Bunny. Oh, okay. Okay, from A Little Golden Book. These books are so great. All right. I'm going to have to buy this book afterwards because I am bending it. Okay, so Melody, can you see the artwork? Long ago in a land called Judea, a man named Jesus taught people about God's love for them. People came from all over the land to hear what he had to say. But not everyone liked Jesus. Some leaders worried that the people liked Jesus more than them, and they didn't like what Jesus said, that he was the Son of God. Jesus met with 12 of his closest followers who were called disciples. I'm going to see, can you see that? There we go. I'll get out of the picture here so that you can see the book. The Passover feast is in 2 days, he said. We shall meet them and eat together. A disciple named Judas heard that Jesus' enemies wanted to capture him. Judas met with them in secret. He offered to point Jesus out in return for 30 pieces of silver. Jesus and his 12 disciples gathered together for the Passover feast. As they ate, Jesus watched them sadly. One of you will betray me to my enemies, he said. This upset the disciples. They stared at each other, wondering who would betray Jesus. Judas slipped out of the room as soon as he could. Jesus asked for God's blessing on the bread, then broke it and gave it to the disciples. Take this, for this is my body, which I am giving up for you, he said. Take it and eat. Holding up a cup of wine, Jesus gave thanks and shared it with his disciples, saying, This is my blood poured out for you. Take it and drink. Here's the next page. Hi, Carrie. Yes, she can see it and is nodding her head. Great, thank you, Melody. And thank you for choosing such a nice book. Suddenly, Judas arrived with a large band of men. He went up to Jesus and kissed him. That was the signal Jesus' enemies were waiting for. They surrounded Jesus and led him away. Terrified, the disciples fled. When Jesus saw this, he regretted what he had done. When Judas saw this, he regretted what he had done. Judas tried to return the money Jesus' enemies had paid him, but it was too late. Roman soldiers took Jesus to a place called Golgotha. There he was crucified along with 2 thieves. Before he died, Jesus asked God to forgive those who had betrayed him. A man named Joseph of Arimathea asked for permission to bury Jesus. He tenderly wrapped the body of Jesus in fine white linen and laid him in a tomb carved into a rock. 2 grieving women, Mary Magdalene and Jesus' mother Mary, watched as Joseph closed the entrance with a large stone. 3 days passed. Mary, the mother of Jesus, and Mary Magdalene came to visit the tomb. There they were greeted by a beautiful angel. "The tomb is empty," the angel told them. "Jesus has risen to heaven, and as he said he would. You must travel to Galilee, where you will find him." As the 2 women talked, they were met by Jesus. He greeted them, saying, "All hail, tell my brother disciples to go to Galilee. There they will see me." Jesus met his disciples in Galilee. He spoke to them, saying, "Go among the nations and teach my words. Baptize the people in the name of the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit." And Jesus comforted them, telling them to remember that he would be with them always until the end of the world. These events became the Christian holiday of Easter. The final week of Jesus' life came to be known as Holy Week, which begins with Palm Sunday. The Passover meal that Jesus ate with his disciples took place on a day that is now called Maundy Thursday. At this meal, Jesus commanded his disciples to love one another. The meal became known as the Last Supper. Good Friday, also called God's Friday, was the day when the Romans put Jesus on the cross. The cross became a symbol of Christianity, and the followers of Jesus came to be called Christians. Easter falls on a Sunday because that was the day Jesus was resurrected from the dead. Jesus' ascent to heaven 40 days later is called the Ascension. Christians consider Easter their most important holy day. There are special church services on Easter Sunday. People wear their best clothes. Families and friends gather for a festive Easter dinner. In the country of Ukraine, women make beautifully decorated Easter eggs called, pisanki. The word means written eggs. And so that is the story of Easter. What did you think, Melody? Did you like it? Good. Is anyone else on the live? Be sure to write something in the comment section so that I can say hello to you. And if you have your child with you, drawing maybe on your lap. So parents, this is your special time. I know how hard you work, and so I really enjoy these story times. Thanks for letting me read to your kids. My kids are grown up and they don't let me read to them anymore. And if you're curious about the state laws in Washington, I did a little research for you. Thank you, washhomeschool.org. So Washington State is considered to be a homeschool-friendly state. Oh, Carrie says she is looking and saying thank you. You're very welcome, Melody. So if you're in Washington, it's a friendly state. They call it home-based instruction. And I am really enjoying your beautiful, beautiful state. It's a sunny day here today. Hi, Pat Wyman. Thank you very much for being on. And is that Joanne? Hi, Joanne. And Izzy enjoyed her story. Hi, Izzy. You're very welcome. So happy Easter coming up, guys. And if you get a chance, go to the library, get some more of these wonderful books, spring books, Easter books. I hope you have a really great week, and I'll come back to you with another live later on this week with some content. So this is Rebecca Kokendorfer with homeschool.com, coming to you from beautiful Bavarian village of Leavenworth, Washington. And I want to thank the bookstore here, A Book for All Seasons, and Teresa, their manager, for letting me do the Facebook Live here. Thank you, everyone. Talk to you then. Take you later.